Imagine being stripped of everything: your family, your freedom, your dignity, and still finding a reason to live. Viktor Frankl did just that. His story teaches us one profound truth: no matter our circumstances, we always have the power of choice. Let's dive into his inspiring journey and uncover how we can apply his lessons to our lives. Viktor Frankl was a Holocaust survivor and psychiatrist who wrote the incredibly influential book, Man's Search for Meaning. In it, he shares his experiences in the concentration camps and the lessons he learned about the human search for meaning and purpose. Many of us have been in situations where we feel helpless, trapped, or stuck. It's incredibly easy to get caught up in feelings of despair and hopelessness when we're faced with difficult circumstances. We can start to feel like we're at the mercy of fate, that we're just along for the ride, and that we have no control over what's happening to us. This feeling of powerlessness can lead to feelings of anxiety, depression, and even despair. We start to wonder if we're doing something wrong, if we're somehow responsible for the circumstances we're in. But the truth is, many of us have been there at some point or another. It's a universal human experience to feel stuck, trapped, or helpless. And it's in those moments that we're faced with a choice. We can let our circumstances define us, or we can define ourselves despite our circumstances. We can choose to focus on what we can't control, or we can focus on what we can control, our own attitudes and responses. The question is, how do we make that choice? How do we shift our focus from what's happening to us to how we respond to it? That's what I want to explore in this video, using Viktor Frankl's remarkable story as a guide. Frankl's experiences in the concentration camps were some of the most brutal and dehumanizing in human history. He was stripped of his dignity, his freedom, and his family. He was forced to live in conditions that were designed to break him. But despite all of that, he refused to give up. He refused to let his circumstances define him. Instead, he chose to focus on what he could control: his own attitude, his own response to the situation. One of the most remarkable things about Frankl's story is that he didn't just choose to survive. He chose to find meaning in his suffering. He chose to see his experiences as an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to find purpose. And that's exactly what he did. He used his experiences to develop his theory of logotherapy, which emphasizes the importance of finding meaning in three ways: through work, through love, and through suffering. Frankl's realization that the last of the human freedoms is to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances is incredibly powerful. It means that no matter what's happening to us, no matter how difficult our circumstances may be, we always have the power to choose how we respond. We always have the power to choose our attitude, to choose how we see the world, and to choose how we react to what's happening around us. One of the most iconic stories from Frankl's book is about a moment when he was forced to march through the snow for hours with barely any food or water. He was freezing, starving, and exhausted, but he chose to focus on the beauty of the snow-covered trees, on the sound of the birds singing, and on the feeling of the sun on his face. He chose to find joy in the midst of suffering, and that choice gave him the strength to keep going. That's the power of choice in action. That's what it means to choose our attitude, to choose how we respond to our circumstances. It's not about changing the circumstances themselves, it's about changing how we perceive them, how we react to them, and how we respond to them. So what's the takeaway from Frankl's remarkable story? It's that we always have the power to choose. We always have the power to choose our reactions, our attitudes, and our responses to what's happening around us. We can choose to be victims, or we can choose to be victors. We can choose to let our circumstances define us, or we can define ourselves despite our circumstances. Thanks for watching, and I'd love to hear from you in the comments. How have you used the power of choice in your own life? Share your stories, and let's explore this theme further together. And if you want to explore more videos on resilience and mental strength, be sure to check out my next video.